It's going to be very close between the two Ferraris as Rubens crosses the line. Yes, clearly provisional pole, but what can Michael Schumacher do? He goes second, and Michael's lost it. Ralf Schumacher comes out of the last corner. Will this snatch it for Williams? Will it take it away from Barrichello? Not quite. What about Rubens? Is he going to put it even further out of reach? Yes, he does. Oh, my word. Undoubtedly, the day belongs to Rubens Barrichello.
Life sweet for Rubens Barrichello, a new £10 million contract agreed with Ferrari. Elsewhere in Formula One, the financial outlook's uncertain.
It's only the people that are not running their businesses properly have been talking about a crisis. I don't hear Ferrari, McLaren and all these people and Renault talking about crisis. It's difficult for the teams that are not being too successful.
It's race day at Spielberg's A1 ring. The track, it's short, it's quick, it's very slippery. If there's one place where Michael Schumacher is vulnerable, this is it. Hello there, welcome to our rural home in the Styrian Mountains. Very pleasant day here, around about 20 degrees, a bit of cloud in the sky as well. We'll have more of that Bernie Eccleston interview a little bit later on, but I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Austrian's top driver Alex Wurz here alongside Tony Jardine. Now, Alex, Michael Schumacher, he's never won here. It's an amazing fact. Is he going to get beaten again, do you feel?
Well, it's difficult, and you know, the odds are against him, but I guess he's going to go on a two-stop race strategy today to get his chances to win.
Tell us more about that. It's a very interesting theory that he's going to stop twice, because everybody normally just stops once here.
That's true. Normally you stop once. You try to go over half of the race distance at least, to try to stop very late. But in theory, on the computer, a two-stop race is about 8 seconds quicker. And I guess Michael's chance, starting only from P3, is getting less fuel, so try to overtake straight at the start, really shift for the first 1 or 2 stints, and then hope to be in front of Rubens or whoever is behind them.
And you say, if it comes off, he's a hero, and if it doesn't, he goes, it's my strategy.
Exactly, yes.
Tony, let's take a look back at the qualifying session. Ultimately very exciting, but it all hinged on Jarno Trulli and the Renault halfway through, spinning all sorts of oil over the track.
Denis Gevrier of Renault very upset with this. He was very disappointed, and he said worried, obviously, for race day. Jarno couldn't do anything about it. It exploded, oil went on the rear tyres, and then Rubens Barrichello got a bit of a shock because he was on a flyer. So that was one of 2 frights that he had during the qualifying session yesterday.
Yeah, the last 2 qualifying sessions at Imola and Barcelona, we saw Michael Schumacher just pipping Rubens Barrichello at the very last, but this time Rubens said, hey, I'm getting that pole.
Yeah, it was so close, and we've been entertained for the last 3 qualifying sessions now by both the Ferrari drivers, but this was it because he stayed out. They were doing 2 laps at a time, I think, on the worn tyres. Rubens was out there despite having to go round Mika Salo earlier in that lap. We'd been bought by the Toyota, and he stayed out and he did that fantastic lap to claim his 5th pole.
He's gone quickest in morning warm-up as well, Rubens Barrichello, but Michael Schumacher, more problems for him trying to overtake his teammate.
Yeah, I mean, he's had problems this morning. He's had problems all weekend. He says he's not exactly sure what it is. Ross Brawn said it was a braking problem with the car, and he switched over to the spare car because of problems with the race car. Just see that rear wing just flexing slightly there when he goes over the small little bumps. But Michael does always give it everything here. He's almost guilty of overdriving. He almost thinks he's on his kart track at Kirpen, the way he chucks it around here. And he does prefer his car slightly nervous as well.
Williams always felt they were going to get closer to Ferrari here. They had a few problems in the session, but at least Ralph's up there on the front row.
I think BMW Williams must be congratulated. They've done a lot of work. Again, an upgrade on the engine. They've got this new front wing, and they got closer all weekend. And Ralph ended up just 0.3 of a second behind Rubens, which is a very good performance.
Difficult session for Montoya. Started with a cuddle with fiancée Connie, and didn't that sort of standard wasn't maintained, is fair to say.
No, it wasn't. Well, because of the misfire, he had to come in and take the spare car, which was set up for Ralph. So because of the delay, they changed as many things as they could. But Juan Pablo still said the car was very difficult to drive. He had to be very careful not to make any mistakes. So he was very grateful to end up on the 2nd row.
So there we are then, Tony. For once, Barrichello out-qualifying the world champion. Just chat us through the group.
Well, Barrichello got his chance for 2nd wing, but could he have to move over for team orders from Ferrari. Alongside him, Ralf Schumacher, his first front row since Indianapolis last year. Michael Schumacher, he's got it all to do. Montoya alongside him in 4th place. Fireworks maybe at turn 1. Heidfeld, his best ever grid position. Alongside him, Kimi Räikkönen. He's outqualified David Coulthard 4-2 now, and a bit twitchy on the steering wheel. A slidey 7th there for Massa. Alongside him, Coulthard, who won from 7th last year, by the way. Panis, a lot of testing in Estoril, the car much better. Salo alongside him in the Toyota. Both the Arrows drivers very happy with their cars on the 6th row. Then we've got Button. Traffic, he said, and the timing of my runs was no good. McNish happy with his car. And then we have Fisichella in 15th place. 16th, Jarno Trulli. He took the spare car. He had braking problems. Villeneuve's had handling problems with the BAR all weekend. Sato's alongside him. Both the Jaguars slow again, I'm afraid. And then on the last row, we've got Mark Webber and Alex Young.
The car doesn't particularly play to my strengths. I can't carry speed into the corners. It's very unstable at the rear. And, you know, it'd be very easy at this time to be getting frustrated with the situation. But I feel very confident that having been down before with McLaren and come up, that we can come up again. It's just going to be a slightly longer process. It isn't going to happen overnight.
Juan, it was quite a messy session, so were you happy with 4th?
Very. You know, I couldn't really ask for anything more, really. I think 4th was very lucky to get 4th. And, you know, it was a difficult session, you know, did the same time down in the morning, but there was, you know, Williams normally improve a lot from the morning to PM, but with all the problems we had, I gotta say that I'm very pleased.
Rubens, congratulations, well done, your 5th career pole, and you really did it to Michael as well.
Well, as I said before, I mean, I don't care from who he came from, but it's the fact that it's working quite well, the team together, and they provided me a good car, and engineering and everything has been quite good, so I thank them for that.
Ralph, well done. Are you surprised to be splitting the 2 Ferraris after what's gone before this weekend?
Well, we're definitely surprised. I mean, being in between them, we didn't think that. I mean, the gap seemed to be a lot bigger than it appeared to be. I certainly don't know what Michael's reason was, but I mean, that gave me the chance, obviously, to come in between the two of them.
I think we have a little problem. I don't know what is the problem. That's why I jumped into the T car, and we need to check now. But anyway, we're in 3rd position with all what has been going on. It's quite reasonable, and the race is going to be long tomorrow.
Makes a real change to hear Michael Schumacher talking about problems. He's won a record 57 races all over the world, except here in Austria. He's had 4 attempts, 6th in 97, 3rd in 98, missing, injured in 99. Ricardo Zonta took him off in 2000, and Montoya ruined his afternoon last year. But make no mistake about it, we are watching a driving genius at work as he closes in on an unprecedented 5th world title. Michael Schumacher, 16 out of the last 25 Grand Prix he has won. What do you think it is, though, about this place that Michael Schumacher doesn't like?
Well, I don't know, actually. I think it's more accident to him. I mean, he was taken off 2000 by Ricardo Zonta, and last year, as you said, Montoya was problem in the 2nd corner. I guess it was still a bit his mistake, as much as it was Montoya's. But you know, the media builds the pressure up, and even Michael Schumacher feels pressure.
Most people blamed Juan Pablo Montoya for that incident last year, but you think it's 50-50, do you?
Oh, definitely, because if you see it, Michael maybe just have let him run wide and not try to keep up with him. And I mean, that's a normal race incident. You can't blame Montoya for it because he was on the inside and he was just sliding wide, you know. So that's racing, very typical for Austria, and we will see more of this maybe later on.
We probably will. Now, we're all wondering about the start here, the first couple of corners, and 2 years back it was Ricardo Zonta in the BAR that crashed into the back. One of many accidents at the start, mind you.
Yeah, he was a bit ambitious here, Ricardo. He was quick the whole weekend, I have to say, but took Michael off and caused the chaos. Well, it can happen very easily here. You know, the ticket prices on the grandstands in the first corners are getting higher and higher each year because there's always something happening there, which is okay for us spectators. sitting here gives us something to talk about.
But from a driver's point of view, just tell us about the particular problem at that first corner.
Well, you know, you arrive with quite high speed already after the start, maybe about 250. You know, you have heavy fuel loads for the first time maybe on the race weekend. It's quite slippery, brakes are cold, and then it's getting very tight in the corner, and everyone tries to win a lot of speed and gains through the corner because you have a long straight afterwards and a second corner on the track, which is also very tricky. So 22 ambitious race drivers doesn't work.
Yeah. Now look, as you're here, you might as well talk us around a lap of this circuit. You know it so well. Round we go with Nick Heidfeld.
Yes, here with Nick, we go through the last corner. He takes now a lot of speed to the start-finish straight, where you accelerate up in 7th gear, about 280 kilometers an hour. You see it comes uphill, you brake about 90 meters, 3rd gear. You use a lot of curb on the exit here to take as much speed as you can up to the longest straight on the track with about 310 kilometers an hour top speed. I'm afraid I don't know it in miles.
That's
you brake
okay.
very late, you have about 4.5 Gs under braking. Corners very slow 1st gear. You accelerate out hard on traction control, hard on the differential. Going down to the very difficult corner of the Gösser curve is 2nd gear, downhill braking, the car sliding. You could see Nick had to correct here a little bit. Accelerating out up to 5th gear, about 250 kilometers an hour, breaking 1 gear down into this blind left-hander named by 3-time world champion Niki Lauda, coming into my favorite corner, the Gerhard Berger corner, 5th gear, very quick, 210 kilometers an hour. Accelerate out here, I think up to 6th gear, braking just a little bit for Jochen Rindt corner, the quickest corner on the track, and here the last corner, very difficult, always you see cars on the grass on the outside. 3rd gear corner and back to start finish.
It'll come as no surprise to anybody out there to hear you're working for Austrian television during the race, doing a bit of commentary.
Oh, thank you very much.
No Alex Wurz curve there yet, though.
No,
for that.
only for Grand Prix winners.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, talking about Grand Prix winners, we're in the worst barren spell for winners as far as Britain are concerned. Anyway, 12 years, 16 Grand Prix, would you believe, since our last British winner. That was right here in a thriller last year.
And it's go! They get away! A good start, a brilliant start! And the 2 Jordans are left on the line! And it's the 2 Williams in the lead already. Montoya leads, and Ralf Schumacher is in 2nd place. Michael Schumacher down to 3rd position, and look at that!
Hakkinen 2, so launch controls are still not sorted out. Montoya then with a 1-second lead over his teammate. Barrichello shaping up then to have a look up the inside into turn 2. Can he make it round Michael Schumacher? That was close. Eddie Irvine squeezing Villeneuve. They just the gentlest of kisses, and Villeneuve into a bit of a pendulum swing there.
That is Ralf Schumacher going wide. He just made a momentary slip there. The car slid wide.
Yeah, I think it was more of a technical problem. It looked like the back end of the car was very unstable, Murray.
Yes, it is. Out of the car he goes. Montoya is slowing up the race. You see, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Montoya is struggling. Something has got to give.
Can he go around the outside? We know Michael can brake a lot later, and still he's coming back. Michael's got to think of his world championship.
Oh, through goes Barrichello. Montoya slowed right down. It looks as though we are about to see the 2nd Williams BMW retirement.
And it's Schumacher. Schumacher in the pits.
From 3rd position. Now it is up to Rubens Barrichello and David Coulthard to really get the hammer down now.
And the 2nd Ferrari's in the pits, and good moves there by Ferrari.
He's taking less fuel on board than the 2 Ferraris did. Did he do enough on his in lap? He might well do it.
Yes, look, David Coulthard still leads. And David Coulthard wins, and Michael Schumacher is 2nd. Wow, there is team orders. Well done, David Coulthard.
Now, Alex, you're the 3rd driver in that McLaren team. How do you see the relationship between David Coulthard and the new man there, Kimi Räikkönen?
Well, I think it's a healthy working relationship. They push each other very hard. Kimi is a very strong qualifier, gives a hard time to David, but David is higher on the points, which is the most important thing, and that's typical for David because he is an extreme consistent driver, and I guess he's really pulling the things out for McLaren at the moment.
Sure. Tony, let's bring everybody up to date. Look at warm-up and problems here for Ralf Schumacher this morning.
Yeah, of course, a totally different car now. You're not in your qualifying setup with a light fuel load. And if they're going to do one stop, then they'll have had the appropriate amount of fuel on. And it looked like that he had to run wide there because of Salo in the last bend. And then he ran wide all on his own. And he was well down the list in the warm-up times. So hopefully no problems for him because he's on the front row, as we said, the first time since Indianapolis last year, and he's got a good chance today.
Sure, Ralf Schumacher 14th. Montoya down in 18th in morning warm-up, and 35 minutes to go to the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. As always, we want your emails, and send us your emails during the race as well, so we can put a couple of them up after the Austrian Grand Prix. But here's one sent to the very popular ITV F1 website. Stephen Gregory from Redruth in Cornwall. He's on the money with this one. How real is the much-trumpeted economic crisis in Formula One? Well, I guess it all depends on how you see it. The thoughts of Bernie Ecclestone after the view, first of all, from the poor end of the paddock.
I think it's improving. I have to say, the meeting we had yesterday, the first time this year where we had 12 people sitting in the room, all talking constructively and all looking at solving problems, not creating them. And yeah, let's hope we have a few more like that and we might see some positive signs.
If we can find things that we can introduce that are influence everybody the same, then we'll take those steps. There's no question, because it'll be good for everybody. But we've tried before and it's hard. But we've got some interesting proposals on the table. And rather than come out and share them with the world, we're all going to analyse them, try and think about, do they actually achieve the cost saving? And if they do, then they will definitely be introduced with no resistance from the top teams.
I think what people are trying to make out that it is much more bigger crisis than it is. I think if people in Formula One lose 5-10% of their money, suddenly they want to know what's going to happen, and no one likes less income than they had before, but that's what's happened, and it just means that other teams and teams like myself just have to make sure that we run within the budget that we've got.
Times are difficult for everyone, but I think our sport compared to other sports is very healthy. If you look at Formula One compared to football, then I think that we're in a good shape. So I think what you have is everyone realising you have to do some housekeeping to make sure you keep the costs under control. But I don't think it's reached crisis levels at all.
You can't take away from the guys at the top what a fantastic job they've done. So it's up to us that are perhaps further down the grid to actually find a way of not only surviving but prospering as well, and that's what yesterday was all about.
So the team bosses had a lengthy and apparently productive meeting with Bernie Ecclestone this weekend. Louise Goodman got his views on the current state of play.
It's only the people that are not running their businesses properly have been talking about a crisis. I don't hear Ferrari, McLaren and all these people and Renault talking about crisis. It's difficult for the teams that are not being too successful because, sponsors, there's plenty of sponsors around, but there's nowhere for them to go, and they're not going to go to someone that's not competitive. It's just that simple.
But are we likely to get into a situation, as they are suggesting, where if something isn't done, they're going to be off the grid and then Formula One will only have 5 teams?
I don't think that'll happen. I'll have to make a comeback if that happens.
I know there have been a lot of meetings going on this weekend, big team owners meeting yesterday. Presumably that's been on the agenda.
Yeah, it was actually, we didn't talk about anything that's to do with, what you've just been saying. We talked about things here rather than that.
What can be done? What changes can be made to help the smaller teams?
I don't know, we'll think of something for sure. When it's necessary. It's not really necessary at the moment, but when it is, we'll come up with something sensible.
I spoke to Paul Stoddard earlier on, and he said that the meetings have been very positive, more positive than they have been of late.
Well, the things we discussed were positive, yeah.
Are we likely to see some changes?
Well, every year we change something. We make changes all the time.
But are we likely to see changes specifically to cut costs for them?
We don't do things to make people spend more money, but you can't stop people spending what they've got. If they've got it, they want to spend it. We're not communists, so there's not sort of a level. We can't bring ourselves down to the lowest person that's got the least amount of money. It's nothing's changed. I've been in motor racing now an awful long time, and in Formula One a long time, but longer than I'd like to remember, and nothing's changed. Always been the same.
I suppose they would say what has changed, though, is the money that you need in order to get into Formula One now.
Well, pro rata is the same. We needed money before. Nothing's changed. And we're not going to change from ITV either. They do a damn good job.
It's good to hear. It's given us a tick then, Tony. Do you detect a mood change among the team bosses?
I think I detect a reality check outside of the paddock gates, the dawning of the realisation that there has to be objectivity and a bit of vision as well, because, you know, there is a devaluation across sport of about 20 to 30%.
OK, Alex, last few words with you. You're going to be a dad soon, aren't you?
Yes, 5 weeks' time. It's going to be ready if he's on time.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be a he. We know that. What about from your personal, your career point of view? You're coming towards the end of your contract with McLaren. You must be very keen to get out there again for real.
Of course, want to race. I mean, I have a race driver heart. I'm starting to negotiate already, but I don't want to give my good position up at McLaren for everything. So I just have to wait for this coming.
You've had 52 Grand Prix. We'll remember you've had little dice with Michael Schumacher in Monaco, one of the big highlights. But at 28 years of age, do you think you might be running out of time a bit now to get back in or not?
No, not at all. When you see people starting with Irvine, down Villeneuve, Panis, they're all 33, 34, 35. I'm doing very good lap times on testing, so I think time is on my side.
Excellent. And finally, give us a prediction, could you, for the Austrian Grand Prix? How do you see the race going? You should know.
Well, I think it's better we wait 2 hours and then you tell the crowd.
Won't get a job in television saying that, I tell you.
But I guess it's one of the Schumachers, to be honest.
One of them. OK. OK. Alex, thank you very much indeed for joining us, and I hope the commentary goes well on Austrian television. Thanks to Alex first. When Ralf Schumacher went for a haircut recently, bad hair day indeed for the Austrian resident, and that's an attempt, by the way, to repair the mess. I reckon Ralf could do a lot worse than book an appointment with an award-winning stylist who loves his F1.
A busy Saturday morning in one of London's top hair salons is not necessarily where you'd expect to find an obsessive Formula One fan. But stylist to the stars Trevor Sorby is just that. Trevor Sorby is one of Britain's best and highest profile hairdressers, but even in his London salon there are clues to his other great passion.
I have a ritual. Every Grand Prix, I go down to the supermarket, get a leg of lamb or potatoes, stick it in the oven, and I get it ready for the start of the Formula One Grand Prix. That, and then I have a kip afterwards. Perfect day. Perfect.
"24 hours on, it's race day on the Grand Prix circuit, and back in London, Trevor Sorby's preparing to enjoy another afternoon watching high-octane sport from the comfort of his own home. His work as a hairdresser has made him a familiar face on television, offering advice to the nation.
Well, at the moment, she's looking a bit like a Christmas tree, but when it's finished, hopefully she'll like it. We're going to bleach it around the front and then highlight it through the top, but very heavily, so we're going to colour it for the hairstyle that she's got.
Trevor, all around the country on a Sunday, people are doing just this, tea and papers and Formula One. Tell me where your love affair with the sport began.
I, at the age of 19, used to work at the racetracks, Netterton, Lydden Hill, Brands Hatch, and I was a marshal. My job was when a car spun off, I used to have to jump on the track and push it off. I mean, literally risking my life. And that's how it all started with me. It was great. I loved it.
And do you support a particular team?
I have to say McLaren's my #1 choice, yeah. You know, I've followed them over the years. I mean, Coulthard's my favourite driver, so that helps. And obviously, I know some of the McLaren people, so I'm a bit biased as well.
Now, what do you do about your Sunday roast if the race is on in the middle of the night here?
That doesn't stop me. Last year, the Australian Grand Prix, I was so excited because it's the first race of the season.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, I've got to have my roast. So I got up at like 1 o'clock in the morning, stuck it in the oven and watched it and ate it. I mean, I know. But I was so tired afterwards, I slept, you know, for the rest of the day. But it goes hand in hand with me, roast and a Grand Prix. Perfect. For me, the start is the best part, you know, and that first bend. I get all nervous for them. Can you imagine what it must feel like sitting in that car and those lights are just going off and the adrenaline that must be pumping around? I mean, I don't know how they do it. It beats me. They take their life in their hands.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Go!
Yes.
Great start by Schumacher. And where's Jenson Button? He's attacking Montoya from the rear. Ralf Schumacher's away well. Look at Button. He's ahead of both of the McLarens.
Wow.
Yes, and Button, of course, starting sick. Ralf Schumacher having a look at the back of Michael. And
We got around the first bend, all right?
Yeah.
the dramas that we can see at this time.
Ralph in.
From second place, Ralf Schumacher comes in. This hands second place to Juan Montoya.
I think Ferraris are the king of the strategies.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Ross Brawn is such an intelligent man.
Absolutely. No, they do some straight right over time.
Michael Schumacher wins yet again.
Yeah, there he
wins
goes.
in Spain.
He's got it.
A dominant performance from him, a dominant performance from the Ferrari team.
No surprise.
Another Schumacher win.
They're getting used to it now up there. Schumacher reigns in Spain yet again.
Well, the food was good from where I was.
Good grub, eh?
Thank you. It's absolutely brilliant. What are you going to be doing in 2 weeks from now?
Pretty much what I'm doing right now, watching this stuff.
So the race is finished for another couple of weeks, but the ritual's not quite over. Now it's time for that all-important kip.
And Kimi Räikkönen, another one who could probably benefit from Trevor Sorby's tender touch. We'll be right back exploring the reasons for Sauber's successful season, and we're going to be meeting some of the mums. They are here in force, the drivers' mums this weekend. Mrs. Salo there, De La Rosa, Irvine and Heidfeld, all seeing their young ones in action. Just under 20 minutes to go to the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. Kimi Räikkönen in the McLaren getting the feel of the A1 circuit. Mika Salo qualified 10th in the Toyota. Very good that. Not such a good qualifying performance from Jenson Button. He's going to be starting 13th, and that's his worst position of the season.
Gents, you're a bit lower down on the grid than we're used to. So what's the game plan for the race?
Well, it's quite a long drag uphill to the first corner, so hopefully we can get past a couple of cars. It's always a bit of a crazy first corner, but should be interesting. And then I think we just got to concentrate on the pit stops. That's the main thing for us. That's where we're hopefully going to make up our time, and we'll see what happens.
So looking at the cars ahead of you, who are you aiming for? The arrows?
I think we can hopefully get past the arrows at the start. I think that's what we're going to do, because they normally run light, so be good to be in front of them before the stops.
Have a good race.
He always tends to start pretty well. It's an uphill start here, by the way, in Austria. Well, now let's turn our attention to the Sauber team based in Switzerland. This is the closest they get to a home Grand Prix. They never moan, they never boast. They trust young talent as well. Heidfeld and Massa starting 5th and 7th. Sauber operating successfully within their means.
A decade since the Sauber Formula One team made its debut, but the Sauber name has been associated with motorsport for much longer. Peter Sauber was a successful driver in the early 70s before becoming a full-time manufacturer. Sauber sports cars had many successes, a 1-2 at Le Mans in '89 and the World Championship in 1990. Even then, Peter Sauber had a keen eye for talent.
Coming from Formula 3, this is the first time working in a professional team like Sauber. Was something very special.
I think we had a very good time together, and very well, with a lot of smile. I remember back to the times I was driving for Sauber.
Sauber have had lots to smile about lately too. They were 4th in the Constructors' Championship last year, outperforming larger and better funded outfits.
If a team is successful, then the package have to be okay. And I think in the moment, especially over the last 2 years, our package is a good and a strong one. In the first 6 years, when we stay in Formula One, was very difficult for us. The team was extremely growing. We started with 60 people, and now we have in the racing department maybe 250 people. And what was not easy to go up so fast. And now we have a consolidation situation, and we have very, very good key peoples.
One of those key people is Willy Ramph. technical director since the start of 2000, he's restructured the team to enable them to make the best of their resources.
Money is a huge issue, but I mean, I think we also learned that even with less money, we can do a very good job. We cannot do everything because the resources are limited. It has also one positive effect because we cannot design, we cannot manufacture each idea. So we have to think much more in detail. What are we doing?
How do you feel? I mean, you're up against teams like Renault with massive budgets, you know, big budget teams with a lot of people, and you're beating them.
Yeah, we are feeling very, very proud, as you can imagine. Yeah, because we have less people, we have less money, but we are very close to them, or we can even beat them. So this is very motivating for me, and also very motivating for the entire team.
We have a lot of teams with a lot more money, a lot more people, but it's important to have the right people at the right place. I think a lot is up to Peter Sauber, who's leading the team, and he's done a good job over the past years. Obviously, we have some good people there on the aerodynamic side. We have a strong engine. Willy Wampf is doing a perfect job. It all has to fit together.
Peter Sauber is a generally very introverted person. I don't think that many people realize that, but he is, with his heart, he is very much into motor racing. He is very different. He doesn't have yachts, he doesn't have boats or big cars or aeroplane. He just is happy with his Formula One team, and he's just focused on that.
It's only great credit for the way they go about their business.
Yeah, they operate like a Swiss watch, and then they operate like a Swiss banker. They spend their money very, very carefully. They invest in young drivers. They're incredible talent scouts as well. I think it should be pointed out, Peter Sauber, he doesn't have an aeroplane or yacht, but he does have a big Harley Davidson, which he loves to ride.
Excellent, thank you, Tony. Well, now back to Louise Goodman, mingling with the drivers nearest and dearest on a special day in Austria.
It's not just race day here in Austria, it's also Mother's Day. And to celebrate the fact, the organisers have invited all the Grand Prix drivers' mums along to watch the race. Now, almost half the grid has taken up the offer, including Jo Jung here, mother of Alex, the only Malaysian driver on the grid. Actually, I should say half Malaysian, really, shouldn't I? Because you're English.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Have you had the VIP treatment? I know they've flown you all the way from KL.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah, they're really giving us 5-star treatment. It's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant, the whole weekend.
I used to know a Grand Prix driver's wife who couldn't bear to watch the racing. She'd spend the whole race cleaning the bathroom. Are you like that, or do you really get into the action?
No, I love it. I love watching Alex race, always have done. I get the adrenaline rush as well, so I'm very happy to watch him race.
Has it been nice having your mum along this weekend?
Yeah, no, I've always enjoyed it. I mean, she's done a little bit of racing herself, and she's always very relaxed about it, and I don't have to worry about anything with her around.
There were Mother's Day hearts for everybody, a quick hug for some, and a chance to spot a few family resemblances at one of Formula One's more unusual photo calls. Rubens Barrichello's mum couldn't make it, so he borrowed Felipe Massa's instead. It was also an opportunity for proud grandmother Mrs. Sarlo to show off grandson Max to Kimi Räikkönen's mum. Sheila McNish has never been to a Grand Prix before, but it's certainly not the first time she's watched Alan race.
I think, like most people that have came through karting, their parents have been to every one of their karting races because that's the way things are. It's very much a family sport. And Mum was there with a stopwatch and taking all the lap times and bits and pieces. And so she's seen a heck of a lot of my racing, but just not in Formula One. But this is the first one.
Debut then for Mrs. Alan McNish. Just over 10 minutes to go to the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. Had been rumours of a bit of rain round here, by the way, but it's staying dry at the moment. Let's have a word with Pat Simmons now, Renault's engineering director. Here he is with Ted Kravitz.
Well, Pat Simmons of Renault calls the strategy for the team in blue and yellow. Pat, Alex Wirtz, one of your ex-drivers, says that one of the Ferraris is going to two-stop this afternoon. Do you agree with him?
Well, it's certainly not out of the question. Although this has traditionally been a one-stop race, it's quite close to calling a two. You need to be at the front to do it, so if anyone's going to do it, I guess it is Ferrari. From our grid position, it's not really an option, but I think he might well be right.
Now, you also know Michael Schumacher very well from the Benetton days. Do you think it's more likely to be him or Rubens who tries the risky strategy?
Knowing Ross, I would think he'd probably let Michael have a go at that one. Try and make a break at the start and really dominate.
OK, thanks, Pat.
Rubens, it's great to see you up here on the pole. How pumped up are you today?
Oh, very. I think it's, you know, the warm-up again said that the car seems to be very good, so I'm very, very confident. I've never been so confident in my life.
Where's the opposition going to come from? Do you think the Schumacher alongside you on the grid or the Schumacher behind you?
We cannot underestimate the Williams. I think we have a very consistent car, but I think they're going to be always trouble for us, so we just keep the fingers crossed, feet on the ground, and do good work.
You've earned this pole today. If you earn the win as well, are Ferrari going to let you keep the position this year?
We'll see.
Good luck.
And Rubens Barrichello with a new 2-year, £10 million contract in his pocket. Let's go down and have a word with Heinz Harald Frentzen, shall we? Scored his first point for Arrows in the last race, and he's with Louise.
Heinz Harald, you're in the points at the last race. You've been pretty much on the pace so far this weekend. What chance of more points today?
Well, it's going to be a tough race for everybody here, especially the circuit is very, very slippery, and I've seen in the past that overtaking is difficult, but it's very easy to make a mistake. Hopefully we are not the ones to that one. But we are trying. We were very competitive this weekend, and we try to show it in the race as well.
Now, there's always been lots of incidents at the first corner here. I just saw race director Charlie Whiting come down and have a word. Was he telling you to take it calm there?
Well, it's going to every driver. We have seen in the past first corners, very dangerous. It's not easy to go there without any touching wheels. So hopefully we go well through to the corner.
Have a good one.
Watching that first corner very closely. So will Bernie Eccleston on everybody here. I just wonder if we're set for Rubens Barrichello to crown a perfect week with only the second win of his career. Ralf Schumacher started superbly last year. The uphill charge we've been talking about to the first couple of corners are crucial, and they're prone to pile-ups as well. Side by side, Michael Schumacher possibly two-stopping, and Juan Montoya, no love lost there. McLaren's record here, that's unsurpassed. Watch the young gun Raikkonen and last year's winner David Coulthard. They will be roaring through the mountains in the Austrian Grand Prix.